Ain't no last calls here.
Bar Talk with Jay.
Alright, welcome to Bar Talk with Jay, and who I got in the building next to me, Craftmatic.
What's up, Smooth Jay?
Man, my goodness, my brother. I'm always blessed to be here, man. I tell you what, got off work, and I said, you know something, I didn't get off as early as I've been getting off all week, and I said I wasn't gonna rush.
Right.
I'm gonna make it. We're gonna make it happen, and that's what happened.
Absolutely.
I love it when a plan comes together, even though it wasn't a plan that I originated.
Right.
It still came together. So again,
That's
the only
how
thing
I
I
work.
can say is I'm blessed.
Yeah.
So how about you, bro?
Man, I'm feeling blessed, man. I'm feeling blessed. You know, the last few weeks, actually the last few months, I've been dealing with my father's health issue, and just seeing great improvements in his strength and in his positive attitude. And he's only got about 4 or 5 more sessions of radiation, and then we're gonna bring him back to wholeness. You know what I mean? So it creates a lot of soreness and a lot of pain and discomfort for him. So just been fighting through that, man, and just seeing the Lord at work. He's doing great things for my father, and my life is in whole. You know, it's whole and complete. I'm in order. So I'm doing well, bruh. I'm doing well. I ain't got no major concerns other than just taking care of my father, you know. So what you been up to, Big J?
Man, let me tell you, I've been having a lot going on, like I was telling you before. But I tell you what, I ain't gonna complain. I've been very blessed,
Right.
and I'm gonna smile my way through this because again, it's not a cover up.
Right.
We got to go through some things, and I guess I have to learn some more things.
Yeah.
Obviously, I got some things in front of me that I wasn't paying attention to, so I got to pay better attention. So again,
And you know what, Jay? What I like about that is you're still learning.
yeah,
And see, that's the key to life, man. You can never know it all, right? It's important that we dedicate ourselves to lifelong learning and being open to new ideas, being open to new people, reading and studying, and just trying to find those ideas that are going to serve us best in our lives. Oftentimes, the thing that we really need, it requires an open mind to the new information. You know, you ever tried to coach somebody on something? You know, maybe it's money, which we're going to talk about tonight.
Oh, yeah.
But you try to give people advice because you've been there and done that, and you can tell that they don't know.
They get it.
They don't know. They can't get it. And what traps them in this situation is that they're not open to listen. They're not open to listen to the new information. So learning is key, man. And I just want to express to all of our audience tonight that this show is an opportunity to learn. It's an opportunity to grow. Again, this is Bar Talk with Jay, and this is Jay's vision for doing this show. And it's ultimately about inspiration. Inspiration is going to come when you hear an idea that you either identify with or don't identify with, but you make a clear and conscious new decision on how you're going to deal with it. In some cases, what we're going to talk about, you may already know, you may already be on board. You can kind of have a moment of gratitude and say, hey, I've been there and done that. I understand what they're talking about, and it makes sense. But ultimately, this show is about self-growth and self-development. And so we're glad to have you folks with us tonight. It's going to be another dynamic show.
Always.
We always keep a dynamic crew around us. And we don't have, unfortunately, we don't have Miss Barbara in the house with us tonight.
Megan Georgia is still represented, but Barbara was not able to attend. And we also got to go back and welcome my man Jamal back
Absolutely.
to the show again. So Jamal.
What's happening?
Hey man, we doing
good.
excellent, man.
We doing good, man. Glad to have you with us again. And definitely looking forward to all your input tonight. So I think we probably ought to start this show off with a prayer, shall we?
I tell you what, yeah. Everybody bow their heads. One of the things I want to say, Heavenly Father, continue to bless Craftmatic's Father and also Craftmatic.
Yeah.
Through all the things, keep showing them the grace and the mercy that you've been giving them, the power and the strength. Please allow everybody to feel your grace and your mercy, for we can all get strong and heal. We all go through some things and we're not understanding. Give us the understanding, Lord.
Yes.
Give us the power to love you for what you have for us, not what man has.
Yes.
And I can only ask for you to continue to bless everybody And I have to say it one more time. Everybody.
Everybody.
Everybody. Because a lot of times everybody want to single out. I only singled out my man Craft on it early on, but I mean everyone needs you.
Yes.
At this time, please answer my prayer. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Well, I tell you, you got a future, Jay.
Well, I tell you.
Listen, they say before you ever go in the pulpit, you should do everything else that you can possibly think of.
I'm working on that too. Now, matter of fact, last week topic. Oh my goodness.
Yes, last week's topic. Let me just go ahead and state it, and we can recap it real quick. Booty and beauty, or chemistry and sex.
Yes.
And boy, it was on fire in this studio last week.
All I can say, somebody that looked like him but not him.
Right.
Had a lot to say.
Right.
About the beauty.
Right.
And the beauty.
But you know what I like about the show, man?
We don't
oftentimes get a young man's perspective.
That's true.
And it was so real, and it kept hitting me across the head the whole show. I was like,
it hit everybody.
It hit everybody across the head, yeah. But there are a lot of people out there who are about it, and if you ain't handling your business, your lady is gonna get taken. She is gonna get, she gonna get weak, and she gonna get done up by somebody who don't necessarily care about her, but just might be interested in the fruit of the booty.
As I said before, somebody that looked like him,
right,
but not him.
Right.
I'm just going by the words that were spoken,
Right.
And
right.
if it fit, you just walk around and know who hit. Oh my goodness. Yeah, because I was really stuck on when we came up with that was more chemistry and sex. But after hearing Jamal, I got to admit, before the chemistry ever happened, you had to have some kind of attraction.
Absolutely.
So it was a wake up because, again, you want to come one way, and again, you got to be open. Like I said before, you got to learn and not feel like everything is closed-minded.
Yes.
Because when you do that, you'll never reach everybody. So he opened me up as well.
He did too, man. In fact, I thought this week about a time that I met a married woman, and she didn't disclose that she was married at the time. We're only talking about a real short interaction, maybe just a couple of days, but we had chemistry, and there was a lot of chemistry. But when I realized that she was married, I also realized that it was the wrong thing to do, and that it was probably just a rebound situation. I probably could have just hit it and sent on by the way, but I didn't put either of us through that because I had the notion that whatever she was going through, it just needed a little more time, it just needed a little more effort, and I was going to get in the way of that potentially happy relationship. So I bowed out, and she understood. It's unfortunate, but one of my boys hit it, right?
Hey, hold on. Before we go any further, it wasn't me. It wasn't me.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure we got some clarity here. I don't need to hear nothing after this show.
That set up so many different ways.
Yeah.
I was really on board and about to cheer her on and her attempts, and I was legit gonna cheer you on and say, you did the right thing. And then to top it off, you said she went in. The homie?
Yeah, the homie, man.
So then that ain't nothing to save as is. That's all right for the team.
Right, but listen,
that ain't you can't cuff that. No,
man.
Come on.
I don't have to deal with the karma of the issue, but he will, right?
Yeah.
Like her husband might come after him and see his name in the phone, and they be sharing pictures. Like there's a price to pay. There's a price to pay for wrongdoing, and I didn't put myself in position for it. But here's the thing that I discovered.
What'd you get together?
That if somebody in a relationship is just out to get some, out to do some dirt outside of their relationship, whether you give it to them or not, they gonna get it.
Regardless.
And that's the reality of it. We're not gonna be able to stop anybody's intention from wrongdoings, but you don't have to get involved with it.
Right.
And
that's a choice. That's a choice.
That's a choice.
It's always gonna be clearly a choice.
And it takes a little bit of experience to be able to reject. It's if you're a man and
you we to judge.
Yeah.
No one is
exactly.
a judge.
Exactly.
But we know things that people do can come back on them.
And it always will. I'm just a big believer that if you do wrong, wrong's going to happen to you. That's just the nature. A lot of people call it karma. I just call it the system that the Lord has set up.
The matrix.
Yeah, it's going to come back on you. So Do the right thing.
Spike Lee.
Beauty and booty is the attraction. That really is the essence of the attraction, right?
True.
And the attraction will oftentimes lead straight to physical, and you kind of bypass chemistry, or you might have some momentary chemistry and end up, having sex with someone. But I still believe in my heart and soul that chemistry by far outweighs any of that, because it's really about who you are, not how you look. Nobody chose how they look, right?
Right.
But everybody has the ability to be a good person and to be helpful and to be supportive and to be loving and to be giving and to experience romance and love. And so the physical will at some form fade away. Over time, we know as we age, the physical is going to kind of disappear, and hopefully you got a good person in your life by then. But there are some people just can't get over, the physical part, and that's all they're gonna look for, and that's all they ever gonna. Yeah, looks.
I mean, yeah.
But I believe it's shallow.
I think it is too, but I
Yeah.
think sometimes the parents hold the responsibility, because if your child ugly, don't name them after a car like Lexus. I mean, why put a stamp mark on top of? I mean, you already know what you made, all right?
Yeah,
you
but-
love it.
yeah.
You know she pretty in your eye, but to everybody else,
But listen, Jay.
Precious.
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 There
She's a
you,
precious being.
there you go.
She's a precious.
Keep her dress
She's
cute.
she's a precious gift from God.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And listen.
Yes, Jesus.
Listen.
But if I ever say, boy, she look like her daddy.
You know you ain't lying.
But listen,
Quick
I think
jokes,
most
just quick
babies,
jokes.
right? Most babies,
Uh-huh.
I would have a tendency to say all babies are cute. You know what I mean? And-
Ah.
Y'all wrong for that.
Nah. I mean, come on, crap.
I know,
I've seen
I'm
some
just-
babies, I'm like him.
I'm trying
They
to
was
be
like,
nice,
what,
man.
They was
You know
like,
what I'm saying?
what you think? I was like, that's precious. That's precious.
Yo, you got a great gift.
Yeah.
You gotta hit him with the head nod on that one.
Yeah.
But listen.
I see why you love them.
Okay, let me
They
turn the
mean the
corner.
world to you, huh?
Yeah.
You gotta hit them with positive
There you go.
reversals.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. Oh, yeah, she's gonna grow up and be a doctor. You know?
Yeah.
Oh, I can tell she's smart
No,
already.
no.
If she ain't all the way up.
All your children got three choices.
Right.
I'm back to say this. You either dressed very nice,
Okay,
you are about to be very smart,
okay.
or you going to jail. I'm sorry.
Okay.
There's this opinions and small.
No,
We are not
whatever.
Right.
You see the ugly child. Listen, some of them might be in South Florida, whatever. But you seen a couple of them. It's 15, 16, and you go. You better make money. Like you ugly.
Right. All right.
Okay, we're gonna get off this one.
Yeah.
let's-
Let me just bring up a quick subject.
Okay.
And since we don't have quote of the week, I'm just gonna bring up a subject that that might inspire people. We all live life, and the tendency of life is that there's high tide, there's low tide, there's good times, there's bad times. How do you keep yourself motivated? How do you keep yourself positive? What do you do to keep yourself on top of your game and always, not in the bad days, but how you bring yourself out of the bad days and continue to focus on your future and positivity? What do you do?
Again, waking up every morning, I have to do a positive quote.
Okay.
The quote goes out for Bar Talk with Jay, but it's really from my heart. Because I really do believe in my heart, in order to change, you have to change the way you think
Right.
and how you do. Because you have to work, okay? So I get up and I put in work on what I want to put out to the world.
Mm-hmm.
How you start is almost how you gonna finish.
Every time.
So
bro.
if you're not starting with something positive, then I almost want to ask you, what's your plan?
Right.
So my plan was a positive note because I know I'm gonna run into some things.
Right.
And I want to go back to what I started with, but I can stay on that path.
Right.
Make my bed. I have to make sure I take care of some small things, because when the things that don't occur that I want, like making it here early enough to make sure everything's set up, I already know some other things already happened.
Right.
My day is never a failure. It might be some incompletes, but it's not a failure because I planned it out.
Right.
And I was able to accomplish a lot of my plans.
Absolutely.
And that's going to give me that strength for the next day.
Absolutely.
And then the next day. But you
Absolutely.
cannot just say, okay, I'm going to be a positive person and think it's just going to happen.
It's not.
It takes work.
It takes work. That's
And
exactly right.
you think you can just do it just because you want to do it and I want to be a good person. You can start some things and not end up where you want to be at all, because distractions happen every day.
Yeah.
But when you plan it out, you can start seeing yourself get off path. And before, I never noticed. I was so far off. I was just gone.
Right.
Now, I already wake up knowing what the plan is. So as I go through my day, I'm asking myself, am I on plan? Am I even trying to accomplish? Because I had terrible time managing.
Right.
Now my time management is getting better. Can't tell you cured overnight.
Sure.
Everything takes work. And that's why I tell you all day long, I'm a Christian under construction. As my boy Pastor Allen said, you know, you've been a Christian under construction for a long time.
Yeah.
I said, don't judge me.
Right. Right. We are all under construction,
Yeah,
you know.
Long term.
And I think the two most important things you said there, that is, it takes work to be positive, right?
Mm-hmm.
It seems like most of the world around us is not positive. And if they are positive, we can't experience their positivity because they're going in a different direction than we are, right? They can't see our vision. Maybe our vision and our goals are so much loftier than theirs. They just have the idea of mediocrity, like you were talking about yesterday.
Yes.
But when you have the idea of excellence, and you have the idea of high performance, and you have the idea of great achievement, that it takes a different mindset to accomplish life and achieve those qualities of life. I think the other one is planning. If you are in a bad situation, one of the best ways to get out of it is to think about being out of it, right? To plan yourself out of it. When you plan, you actually project yourself into the future. And you're not actually resting in the present moment. You are resting in the place where the accomplishment is. So I need to talk to this person. I need to write this letter. I need to do this for my house. I need to do this for my kids. When you start putting a plan together, now you start moving into the area of achievement and excellence. But if you only just wake up and just take on your day, you're really going to be living a mediocre day because you haven't put forth the mindset to make the change. Absolutely. Any comment on this subject, Jamal?
I messed around and watched Oprah.
Okay.
That's a positive thing to watch.
Oprah, she looking real good as of late.
Okay.
I mean,
Right.
listen,
Right.
somebody asked her a question, how do you get the money and maintain the money? She said, before I become a gazillionaire, the first thing she does is thank God.
Yes. Yes, that's powerful, bro.
Like, before she looks at her cell phone, she
Right.
thanks God.
Right.
Before everything gets negative, she thanks God.
Yeah. That's powerful.
Before you can deal with the negatives and darkness, you gotta first stand in the light.
There you go. There you go.
So I took that initiative because I ain't gonna lie, I deal with depression from time to time.
We all do.
And that's one thing that, fortunately for me, I got some people in my corner that will work my nerves and ask me 30,000 questions.
Right.
that don't even have the information to yet.
Right.
But will work my ever-loving nerves.
Right. Your team
And
can
then
make
the
a big
bad
difference.
part about it is, right when I get off the phone and I'm irritated, I go and do exactly what was just told to me. I'm like, all right, let me see how I got to
There
find
you
this
go.
out now. No,
There you go.
can't let them know that they was right, but I just gotta.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Write it
saying?
down. Confirmation.
Unfortunately, I got some people in my corner that bless me enough to help be that. So I keep positive people that are around me.
There
If
you
you're
go.
not
That's-
positive,
That's
I don't even
monumental.
argue with you.
Right.
I just don't talk to you.
Right.
Like, I will cut you off.
That's
You
wise.
ain't gonna know nothing about me. You ain't gonna know where I'm at, nothing.
Exactly.
People who I
Exactly.
keep around me now, I know that they have the best intentions for me. And if you don't,
Bye.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah, if you don't, you don't get my attention. You know what I mean? If you don't have the best intention for me, then you don't get my
We gotta
attention.
go to break. Gotta go to
Yeah.
break. You wanna give them to them what time?
Yeah,
We
let
gotta
me
give
give
'em-
it to you. Folks, this week we are talking about
Give it to 'em.
the essence of money, right? Would you invest in yourself and loved ones or spread the wealth if you had a lot of money? How much is really enough to make you happy? Let's have a conversation. And folks, I want you to get out your pen and paper tonight.
And your wallet.
And you,
Because I want you to share with
you
me
can't,
tonight.
right, you can't buy nothing here at the studio right
man,
yet.
well,
it
it's
is.
supposed to be sold, not told now. Hold
That's
on.
right. That's it. Put it
Yeah.
out your
You know
wallet.
what I'm saying? Hold on.
What's in your wallet?
Right.
Move.
So we got a great show lined up for you. We thank you for being here with us tonight. And if you folks will stand by, we are going to take our first break.
Yes, sir.
We'll be back right after this. Talk. we are back. We Bar Talk with Jay.
Oh yeah. I hit that sideline real quick.
Yeah.
And I know you're disappointed, man. I'm trying my best to get your girl on, man.
She must be doing something important right
I'm
now.
trying to figure out what she doing, bro, because everything was good earlier. And I can tell you ain't had that Kool-Aid smile like you normally do.
Right.
So I'm trying to figure out what's really going
I
on,
don't
player.
think those two are linked. I don't think those two are linked. I sure would love to hear her voice.
I heard it earlier.
Yeah.
And she's like she was good to be on, bro.
Yeah.
And you didn't come in with that Kool-Aid smile like normal.
Listen,
and she ain't picking up now.
Jamal brought something out of her last week.
Yeah,
right?
you know something?
I mean, we heard about
I gave you a sidebar already. See what I'm talking
We
about?
heard about the long guy and the guy who you know
And
she
she
go
was
out
with it,
with. Yeah, well listen,
She was with it though.
she gets it. There's no doubt she gets it. But I'm gonna
Really,
tell you,
Jamal?
she thinks like a dude. I'm telling you, that's her. You know what I mean? She doesn't think like your typical female.
And that's why Jamal had no problem
Right.
having fun with
Right. If she was a little more
Girly,
female
girly.
oriented, yeah, if she was girly, she wouldn't have went. Even if she'd have identified with the idea, she wouldn't have told us,
Okay.
right? Because that'd have made her seem like, you know, something different. But she really thinks like a dude. I love her
Okay,
disposition.
young man, what is it?
This is why I like This is why I like the cougars and the women of an older age.
Uh-huh.
Because they ain't got the time for the games. They ain't playing with you.
Right.
They tell you what it is up front. You tell them what it is up front. Ain't no misconceptions.
Right.
Young girl, I want to talk and I want to get to know you and
Yes.
let's cut.
Yes.
I gotta go to work in the morning.
Yes.
Look, you know what
Yes.
I'm saying? I need 2 hours at least to myself just as is. So
See, oftentimes a grown woman probably want the same thing you want.
right. So
Right.
you just keep it 100 with them.
There you go. There you go.
I ain't
They-
playing them games.
They still want to be treated like a lady.
yeah.
And they still want to be, you know, nurtured and taken care of.
But they want to live
But,
that rough side.
Even
but they
that
know
little
what
girl,
they
you
want.
Let her hair down.
Right.
Mm.
right.
It's like y'all trying to start some stuff.
No. We were just reflecting on Miss TK. You know
Oh,
what I'm
okay.
saying?
Oh, okay.
That's
Right.
all. She's
We're gonna blame
one of
on
those.
TK. TK, this is all on you.
Yo, your fault.
Yeah, she's one of those who knows what she wants
Right. And
Right.
I like them type.
and knows what she likes.
You know what you like too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Older
And
women know what they like. Young girls, you gotta teach them. And you
Wow, 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 wow.
Yeah,
But
Yeah.
but some strange reason that's what you gravitate to and have.
Nah, I'm sorry.
You still keep your Krugers.
Nah.
You like older women.
Hands down.
Okay.
If-
Okay. I do too.
Yeah.
I do too. I mean, I'm getting to the point now. I'm entertaining 60s.
Nah, ooh.
You know what I'm
If
saying?
it ain't Pam Grier, Angela Bassett, we ain't even look. Or Oprah, we
Listen,
ain't looking on that.
And they are in that age bracket. Don't get it
they
twisted.
sure are.
They
Yeah, look
are
at
definitely in
And
that age bracket.
you named two of the hot ones.
Yeah.
Angela Bassett,
Yeah.
Oprah,
Yeah.
them is understandable. Anything, Pam Grier, understandable. Just
Yes.
for pride's sake.
Yes. That's what I'm talking about. I'm
Yeah.
I'm not
You
talking.
just keep on naming
I mean,
them off because I'm
listen,
just gonna shake my head.
At
It ain't
age
coming out my mouth.
at age 60, most of them are gonna be grandmamas, but they still are lovely. You know what I'm
Grandma
saying?
still working.
They got a great mind.
I know grandmama's at 45 right now. Stop playing. Don't.
Right.
Started a little early.
You know what I'm saying? They went too young.
Yeah.
It happens. It happens.
Indeed it does.
Like I said,
Indeed it
man,
does.
it changes the game a lot of times when you really look at the things. But I wanted to say, sorry, TK, you wasn't able to make it on, girl. I mean, it does happen. Craftmatic is over here sad as all get out, but I hope we can cheer him back up.
Yeah.
Because again, we're gonna make some changes to the game.
Yeah.
Because if I really think about it, and we go back and look at some of the things when it comes to segments, a lot of women are asking a lot of questions, and I got asked several over the last topic alone.
Okay.
And one of them is, why are men so male chauvinist? And I don't really think men always are. I like to say we're more alpha male. And a lot of times they get it mixed up. But again, I want some confusion out of the way, because again, we are three men talking, and a lot of times TK just calls in and they're like, y'all point of view is always stronger than hers and y'all always speaking up. It's never about speaking over, because again, one of the things that we do is respect one another.
Absolutely.
And it's always about a debate, because one of the things we have to do is listen to you, and then we take that information, we give it back in a different kind of way.
Right.
That's a debate that I really feel like we all need to come to the table with, not an argument. Argument is emotions and feelings that I like to say a lot of times ain't gonna end very well to me,
Right.
because you're gonna stop listening.
Right.
And that's a very bad thing to me, because I really want to understand you, but if I'm hearing something constantly and it's repeating,
It's annoying.
it's past annoying because I'm not learning.
Right.
If you keep repeating, I'm not learning. You're just making me feel like I'm stupid because I'm not getting what you're saying. I'm not doing what you're asking. Now, that's the difference. Now, can you wake up and understand that and figure out what you want to do? Because you can't change me by manipulating me with the same thing over and over and think you're going to get a good result. That's insanity. Okay, but I'm not going insane with you. You're going to do that in the corner by yourself because I'm not going to be there. So I gotta get away from the male chauvinists because again they think that because again we are strongly spoken, but it's not that way.
Define male chauvinist for me in your opinion, Jay.
Well, I'm going to define it by how they threw it at me.
Okay.
Because I didn't really think they used the correct word to me.
Okay.
They were trying to say because we're strongly speaking men that we are more opinionated on male's point of view over a woman. So it made a male chauvinist as in all our points overrule theirs, and like theirs don't mean anything. That's how they came at me. And I feel like that's not true.
Right.
My whole thing is to get our points out there for you can understand us better.
Right.
That way we can address each other in a way that we can respect. Respect is number one on my list.
Right.
And if we can respect one another, have a great conversation, no matter who you are, I'm going to enjoy myself.
Right.
Talking over me and feeling like you're going to be more dominant than me, it's going to be a match that at the end of the day, I'm not probably going to enjoy. Because somewhere along the line, I'm going to have to tone it down because I don't feel like we have to yell at each other ever.
Yeah, and it's not what they say, it's how they say it.
Yes. Rudeness.
That gets us
don't
in
need to
a
be
lot
there.
of trouble. That creates misunderstandings where there probably really isn't much of a misunderstanding. But, men often get labeled chauvinist, often get labeled that they're, not willing to hear or listen to a woman's opinion. And if you are talking to me, if you're talking to a man, he really can only see the world from a man's perspective. And if you're talking to a woman, oftentimes they can only see from a woman's perspective. And so that's where the clash sometimes come in. I think what happens often is that when men express themselves, they don't express themselves emotionally, right? They just kind of put it out there, you need to be doing this and you need to be doing that and this is how I feel about it, and it's really just kind of black and white. And just through my experience, women really need to be heard. They need to be understood. If you have two men in a room having a dialogue, that there's not a whole lot of emotion in it. There's just the facts, just what I think, and this is where I come from, and what I've seen, my experience. If you have women talking to one another, they'll talk a lot about how they feel. And here's what here's how I feel, and here's how that made me feel, and the way you said it made me feel a certain way. And so there's a lot of disconnect in the communication, just simply in the lines of communication. We're not suggesting that what you're saying, ladies, is wrong, right, wrong, or indifferent. Maybe sometimes because of how you say it, we just can't internalize it, So I don't know that we're gonna get over a male chauvinist title unless we change the way we communicate. And there is opportunity for us to grow. Right? There is opportunity for us to be more empathetic when we speak to women or when we speak about women, which is part of what I was attempting to get to last week. I think, Jamal put it out there like A, B, C, X, Y, Z, and there's nothing wrong with that. Everything, he thought and everything he believed, that's his truth and that's how he sees the world. Right. But I realized that most of our audience are women, and you can't project that image to a woman and expect to be perceived as something different. You can't say, hey, I might hit it, I might just hit it, you know what I mean? And if you say that, women don't take it as you might just hit it. Maybe women might take it as, oh, you're a user, or you a dog, or you just want to get some. You don't really care about the person inside. And that may not necessarily be the case. A man can very well care for you and not necessarily tell you, and sometimes may not necessarily show you in the way that you need to be shown. But he's just trying to get to what he needs and what he wants. And, not saying that any of it's right or wrong, it's just the method of communication that gets in the way.
And that's why I wanted to make sure I brought it up. Because again, a lot of times we give our point of view, and when we are strong in the paint, which I love because I love our passion. I love the fact that we take what we go through and bring it to the world. Now, when you do that, you change the game.
Right.
But to another person, when they listening, you know the number one thing I hear?
Right.
That's what your male chauvinist, because your way is so strongly spoken. Ain't nobody want to speak over you, or nobody want to say anything to you. And I like to back up everybody and say, hold on. That's not true. You're overjudging me. This is a show that I'm having to bring out passion in deep places to keep your attention.
Right.
But don't ever get it twisted. I'm a kind of person that if you tell me something and it registers to me and I really feel like I might be wrong, I can admit it.
Right. Right.
A lot of times people don't do that, but I can, because again, I won't grow if I stay closed-minded and stay within just myself feeling like I'm so right. No, I'm looking for more understanding, so a lot of time I have to absorb it.
Right.
I understand it, and then I be there, so, you know, how you gave it to me, I didn't like it. Okay, you gave it to me in a raw way. Didn't really appreciate how you gave it, but overall, it computes.
Yeah.
It adds up. Facts adds up.
Right.
And that's why I like to get away from emotions and feelings, because when they get them in there, it ain't always gonna add up, because my feelings and your feelings can be different.
Yeah.
That's not always gonna tie. So that's why I back things up sometimes, and I'll be like, but male chauvinist, no.
It's hard to speak. It's hard to speak. I guess, how do I want to put this? When we're here talking, folks, we're only talking about our own experience. And if you've experienced that situation or that circumstance, whether it be with a woman, you know, tonight, whether it be with money, that's just been my experience. I can only talk about my truth.
Right.
And when I talk about my truth, it's gonna sound, it may come across cold, but I'm really just saying, here's the lesson I learned.
Crap, you really cold?
Huh?
You cold like that?
Nah, man, I ain't cold.
I ain't think you was.
I mean,
you sound like
I am
this
a
for
fan
second.
of Iceberg Slim, but you know what I'm saying, I ain't cold, you know what I'm saying? I get the salesmanship.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna start calling you 40 below in a minute.
No,
E40.
Jay, you know I'm the most loving guy in the world. You
I
know?
mean, you can be, but I think you got that dark side.
No,
Dark Vader.
no, I won't let you press that on me. I rebuke that
I'm
spirit.
your father. You be in the bedroom? I'm your father.
Yeah. She was like, okay, Jay.
See that voice? You know what I'm talking about.
Well, you know, there comes a time and a place, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes there's you need a slap on the rump, you know what I'm saying? You might need a rumble in my voice, to, for you to get there. But we're talking about a place that's private, you know what I mean? Rumble.
If you don't do
We're about to go to break. Y'all are going there.
You brought it up, bro.
I stirred the pot, baby. What
Okay,
else am I supposed to be doing?
and listen, and I'm just participating in the program, you know.
Only thing I can tell you, this Bar Talk with Jay. Stay tuned, because we're about to go back in. I got my man Jeffrey coming up next, and again, Jamal got so much more he wants to say, as you can already know. So we're gonna get him on the mic in a minute. Calm down, but stay tuned. We'll be right back to Bar Talk with Jay.
We're about to get the good Reverend Dr. Jeffrey on the line, and we know he always brings the smoke. If you folks are just now joining us, if you've never been here with us before, we are all over the internet. You can find us on YouTube, you can find us in Spreaker, you can find us at Facebook. We do Facebook Live 7 to 9 every Thursday. And we're also on iTunes. We're also on Periscope. And if you go to our website, which is bartalkwithj.com, we have a whole history of program there, and a lot of great dialogue. I mean, we have talked about everything under the sun in this show. And so you folks just reach out to us, go on any one of those medias, and you'll find us there with nothing but magnificent material. Right now, we got the good Reverend Dr. Brother Jeffrey on the line. Brother Jeffrey, how you doing tonight, man?
Brother Kraft, what's going on with you, sir?
Man, I'm holding on. Always excited about your segment. I guess I'm going to have to ask you Jay's infamous question.
Hello.
How was your date today?
Man, they had me rip running today. I was up, down, all around, all over the place, but
Right?
you know what time it is.
Indeed.
It is time for you to close your mouth and listen. You ask me some questions, I give you some answers from a man's point of view. Now, I got one reason for the habitually single woman, and one reason for the habitually single man as to why they might be single. But before we get to that, here is my disclaimer. Now, what I'm going to talk about may not apply to you, and if it doesn't apply to you, I don't want you to put your foot up in this shoe. But if it does apply to you, I want you to put both feet in both shoes and walk around in them because you're going to learn something tonight. Ladies, you go first.
Okay.
Let them.
All right, ladies, you might be single, ladies, because you've been single too long.
Oh.
You might be single because you've been single too long. I mean, you got your own system in the place. You know, you don't account or have to answer to anybody. You do what you want to do when you want to do it. You go where you want to go when you want to go there. You take trips with your girlfriend or by yourself, and you do it big. Then you think for a second that you might have to give that up to sustain a relationship. And the prospect of that is scary as hell to you.
Yes.
So instead of putting yourself out there and meeting a travel companion, a man that, you know, would want to partner with you and make you feel good in ways that your girlfriend might make you feel good. You never know these days. You never know these days. But what I'm telling you, ladies, is this. If you really want a man that's going to treat you right, you are going to have to give up your single-mindedness.
Yes.
You have to give up your single-mindedness. You got to become we and not me. Now, ladies, you can stay focused on you all you want to. You can keep on traveling and meeting folks all over the world all you want to. But no man is going to sit there and say, you get to keep your single ways as my woman. And he's going to leave your ass single.
You gonna be in the house by a certain time.
He helped define that reason why.
Yeah.
I like that one.
I like that because
You got that from 3 points of view. That's a 10 across the board, sir.
That's a 10 across the board, Jeffrey.
Unfortunately, as good as you gave it on that one, you're gonna have to hurt some dudes' feelings, and I can't wait for you to hurt a cornball's feelings. That's what I'm calling. So go ahead and give it to him. If it apply, it apply. Go ahead, get him.
It sounds like Jamal wants you to have a bad day. I just want to make that very clear.
No, I want you to
it's on you,
He
Jeffrey.
just went at the girl, and you know what? We all agreed in. Yeah, ladies, okay. Now, you gotta get the fellas.
Yeah.
So,
All right,
get the fellas.
Jeffrey, you up.
Okay, now, fellas, don't think I'm letting y'all off the hook. Fellas,
I'm on with you.
you are next.
Okay.
Fellas, you might just be single because you playing games.
Oh, easy. Hands
I'm
up.
just gonna keep it 100%
There you
real
go.
with you, fellas. You playing games. Here's what I mean. Now, you step up to a woman and you will tell this woman, hey, you know what? I ain't really looking for nothing serious. I ain't looking for nothing serious.
Yeah.
But you take her on dates every day. You call her 24/7. You send her sweet nothing text messages. When you hang around her, you do all this boyfriend, relationship type stuff. And then when she catch feelings, you have the audacity to say, I told you in the beginning I wasn't looking for nothing serious.
You was listening to last week, huh? I swear for
What I need you to understand, fellas, is first of all, that is emotional robbery. When you do that to a woman, it's emotional robbery. Somebody needs to call the police on your ass because you have stole her heart and her emotions.
That's why I don't like the
That's not right, fellas.
Cornball.
So what happens is you become that dude that drives that woman into the arms of bitterness. And then she takes that bitterness out on that next dude because she's still scarred from what you did to her. And it ruins that other guy's chance. I'll tell you, relationship karma's going to come back around on you. But first of all, I need you to understand that that woman that you scarred is going to leave your ass.
Why?
Single.
Can you say that one more time?
Man, no.
You just clarified our whole last show, bruh. Right?
It sound like he agreed with somebody I know.
Yeah, he should.
Somebody like me. sound like we just all agreed on the same thing that was said
Emotional robbery
last week
is major.
from somebody we know.
I mean, listen, all I got to say is, fellas, stop playing games with these women's emotions. You know what I'm saying? You can't have sex with a woman and she not catch feelings. And don't get crazy.
Hey, you might not be good, so you might not get feelings. You gotta be good to get really good.
I thought what he said
there's a lot.
was don't go do boyfriend type
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Don't
That's
be
emotional
calling
robbery.
and texting and how your day going and stuff.
Like afterwards, she got to go.
Right.
But
She needs no cuddling.
Right.
Got this.
That's what I thought he
Y'all,
said.
Y'all,
Can you clarify that again, bro? Because two people over here understood you. Somebody on the shit by themselves. Clarify that again.
listen, that's because I consider myself in the righteousness
Yeah,
of mankind,
yeah.
and I don't dog women out. I don't just, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Now, there are those women who, if that's what they want, I'll entertain that program. But for the most part, I'm trying to have a companionship.
How many
I want somebody to talk to when I get off at night. I want somebody to go out with on the weekends.
How many women have cried over crowd?
I mean, I can't put that in the
Yeah,
air.
Oh, okay. So we ain't
put that
gonna
atmosphere.
put the obituaries out there. But see, I ain't that dude. I tell you what it is.
I mean, listen.
Up front, them other dudes cornballs. You trying to do boyfriend stuff? Okay, I'm
That's
not gonna
how
talk
I
about
roll.
nobody we know.
Right,
but a
right.
story that I done heard a couple days ago. Dude got a whole situation,
Right.
but got mad when his side situation gave attention somewhere else. See, now hold on, wait
That's
a
horrible.
minute. Wait a minute. You
That's
got a
horrible.
situation, okay, that is your situation. You follow the code on that. Having a side, hey, play, you get how you live, you come, hey, whatever. But you can't catch feelings for the side situation and do
You got a main
boyfriend. Yeah,
situation.
you can't do boyfriend stuff with the side. No, that.
Right.
We're gonna have to stop
Because-
right there. We gotta get back with
We can't
Jeffrey.
talk-
We gotta
Because
get
that's
back.
playing games, and Jeffrey put
It
it
is.
right on point.
He
All
did.
right, Jeffrey,
Jeffrey,
we
bring it
ready.
together, baby. What you got for us?
Sound like we know.
Man, listen, here's the thing I want everybody to understand about this relationship thing. There is no lasting success in our community until our men and women start talking to each other. And I mean talking to each other on that real thing, not where women are trying to blame men and men are trying to blame women. I'm talking about talking to each other, trying to find a solution, trying to find a common ground again, reasons just to like each other. Not to point the finger, but to like each other, because once we begin to like each other, we can begin to adore each other again. And when we adore each other again, we can start to love each other again. And the moment we start loving on each other, we start walking in the same direction, we start rebuilding our relationships in our community.
Yes.
That's what we got to get back to. And the minute we get back to that, it's going to be some changes up in this piece. Folks going to be worried. Folks going to be concerned. But that's all right because we're focusing on each other and not focusing on them. And that's all I got.
That sounds like somebody who was listening to the show 2 weeks ago talking about community. Not somebody we know though. Was
We talking about
Yeah.
Jeffrey. Oh
Man, that's right on
Thanks,
point.
Jeffrey, man.
I mean,
Appreciate you.
how often do we even hear about lasting relationships, the lasting success of relationships, and finding a reason to like each other, finding a reason to adore each other, finding a reason to fall in love with somebody? And that takes chemistry. That takes asking questions and being willing to be heard and understood. And that takes, sometimes speaking your mind, but more importantly, it's about affection for a person,
Right.
and not just trying to get something from that person. I love it, Jeffrey. I love it, man. Listen, tonight we are talking about money.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to put a tag on it for you, but what advice would you give people as it relates to money and having it, using it, saving it, fulfilling your life with it?
Oh, I got a lot to say about that. But we gotta go to break.
Did Jeffrey go?
Yeah, Jeffrey gone already.
Okay,
Jeffrey
I
gone.
didn't realize he was gone, and I was
Yeah.
really looking forward to his answer.
Oh man, sorry about that.
That's all right. We're
Jeff,
gonna
go.
answer the question after this.
Oh,
We
yeah,
we moving
got it.
into the second half of the show where we go in on the subject, and we just want to liberate folks to have some new ideas about money, to hear our opinions, bounce it off of your opinions, and see if there's some magic there, so that you can all move to the next level.
Mhm.
So this is Bar Talk with Jay, and we'll be right back after this time. What's up, man?
You threw one out there, and I think I gotta jump in on this one when it comes to money. I can't say I knew exactly what to do with it, and I had some people tell me early on, pretty much what I need to do in my life. Go to school, get educated. After school, go to college, get a degree, get out, buy a house, get a wife, don't forget the corporate America's job, blase, blase. A lot of people do that.
Right.
Nobody really broke me into owning my own.
Right.
So again, working for a corporation, I started learning some things. And again, I heard you have to have money to do it, and then I hear everybody say you get somebody else's money, and that's how you do it, okay? They don't give you the process. No one wants to really tell you. They want to sell you the game, they don't want to tell you.
Right.
But you got to be willing to listen to some other people talk and also read up on you for yourself.
Right.
Because again, if you expect somebody just to tell you, you're going to be sadly mistaken or misled, because everybody don't want to see you successful. But if you want to be successful, you have to show somebody.
Absolutely.
So when you go out there, any of you don't do it completely right, by you doing it, I noticed some people stepped up and said, this is what you did wrong, and you can go from here. You can make growth by doing, okay?
Yes.
Taking forth the effort to do. Like what I did is I put my own money up. I worked enough, I saved up, I said, forget it, I want my own. And I just took it and I started my own. I can't tell you it did good, don't get me wrong, but it didn't start off great.
Right.
Because again, I had one of them 60-day contracts, so the first 30 days was on me.
Right.
Next 60 days, the first 30 days was coming, so you upfront everything, so it was a major load. Didn't anticipate it all, but I found ways to make it work. Guess what? It worked.
Right.
Worked for many years, made a lot of money. One of the things I can also tell you, watch hiring friends. I hire friends, and the reason people say you don't hire friends, I can give you the breakdown why. Because you care for them. Okay? And then when they need advancements and things of that nature, you have personal feelings, and that's where you don't manage. Because it's your baby, and that's when you baby your business, you ain't managing the process, and that's where some things go left of center. That's where that comes from. I'm giving more of a breakdown because people say it, and you don't know where it comes from. Well, from a business owner, and I hire friends, I can see exactly why they said it. Now, when they said it, it didn't apply to me because I didn't have a business. So a lot of things you hear and you don't hold, it doesn't always make sense. But once you get in that position, it gets a little bit more clear. So again, being a boss, I always say work within excellence before you ever want to just be a boss, because it's going to take a whole lot of work to be that person. And anybody that's very successful, they're still working. Everybody that you know that you want to throw a name out there, I don't have to mention their names, anybody that you might see, they don't just say, well, I did this and then stop, okay?
Right.
The past is not where you want to be, it's the present. What are you doing now?
Right.
And it's the same thing if you want to be successful. What are you reading up on? What are you doing? What are you sharing? Now when it comes to money and it comes to helping somebody, do I have to be rich to give a lending hand? Everything ain't about money. You can open up your home. You can actually feed somebody. Mm-hmm. You can clothe somebody. Now these things got to be given from the heart, and quit judging. You just got to give. Now once you do this and you go without, and it's been times I gave, and it's been a situation I never give a name because I don't believe in slander. But I will say I gave to somebody when I didn't really have it. I wasn't even working.
Right.
But they really needed it. And I said, you know something? I'll do it. I need it back. Never got it back.
Never got it back.
I mean, never.
Yeah.
I'm talking about years.
Yeah, I'm in
never
situation
got it
now.
back. And the hurtful thing about it is when I gave it, I made it very clear. I wasn't working. So I really need it back because I don't know what's all around the corner, but I have enough saved up. I'm good.
Right.
So I don't want to turn my back on you because at this point, even though I'm unemployed, I got a severance, and I know you really need it. But if I really can get it back, I will front it for you. On the front. Just understand where I'm at, my positioning. Now, I can't be no more clear than, I'm balling and all this, because some people want to act. No, my thing is, I have a lot of responsibility nobody knows about.
Right.
And I don't talk about it because it's none of nobody's business. I have to handle mine. It's called a man.
Right.
And when I put that out, and I did that, I did have a reserve in my mind, just in case it didn't. I had another plan. I never thought I had to resort to that plan, because this person was very upfront. I got you. It's coming back. They left a very negative impression on me with I got you.
Yeah.
Now I look at people very funny when they say they got me. I've been got already.
Right.
So I got you is not a positive thing to me because of some of the things in my past, and I have to let that go. Because what I did. And I did willingly. I would never say that person stole from me. I did it. And I just hope that person realized and not just give back. Do better. Because
you would hope. You would hope.
I would hope, but unfortunately I ain't seen him.
And you probably ain't gonna see him.
Yeah, I know.
See, money is a funny thing. Money will ruin a relationship. And I don't know that I had the notion that we were gonna go down this avenue, but I think this is a great point to make. If you are lending money to a friend, you probably need to protect yourself more than you do your friend. That means that if you're lending money and you got a week's timeline to get it back, it may not be a good idea to lend it, because it may lead you in a bad situation. And then your friendship's going to be ruined because you trusted them. But what you ultimately trusted was the pipe dream that they were going to get the money back in a certain amount of time and get it back to you.
The lie.
Right. The lie. Right. I had a friend of mine who I thought was a friend, and you see my language change.
Oh yeah.
I'm not even sure.
But
they're
they
friends,
changed,
right? But she said, "Hey, I'm in a situation. My baby daddy ain't coming through for me. I know he will, but he just hadn't come through right now. I need this money." And it was like a Tuesday. She said, "I need $300." I was like, "Okay, cool, bet." And I got involved, and she didn't even ask me for the money.
Mm-hmm.
She just was telling me about her situation. Mm-hmm. And so I took it upon myself to say, well, listen, why don't you let me help you? Mm-hmm. So I left work, went and got the cash. I came back. I handed it to her. She said, "I got you on Friday." Mm-hmm. I'm like, okay, that's cool.
I got you.
This was 2 months ago. To this day, I have not spoken to her since. Mm-hmm. And but in my heart, I kind of have empathy, because I'm thinking that she probably just doesn't have it, and she probably doesn't know how to face the reality of telling me that. I already know she ain't got it, or if she does have it, she just not willing to pay me back, right?
You just ain't get it.
And I may never know the truth, but I needed that money at the time I gave it to her. In fact, I pushed a couple of things back in order to take care of her. So, I'm of the notion now that I'm probably not going to lend, unless it's somebody who, I don't know, maybe I feel like can be responsible enough to pay me back. And it takes knowing people, in order to make a decision as to whether they're going to pay you back. Right? You have to have had some experience, a new friend, or, somebody who's been in your circle only a short period of time. You don't know them well enough to lend money. And so sometimes it may be better to just say, hey, maybe I can help you in some other way, but I just don't have it right now. And I kind of feel convicted even saying that, because what the word of the Lord says is that if you have it, then you need to give it. And don't ponder on, I'll give it to you next week, or let me sleep on it. If you have it, the idea is that you are supposed to open your mind, open your heart, open your pocket, and help other people. But when people hurt you, and people turn their backs on you, and people don't follow through on their commitments, it'll make you cold, and it make you cold for a good reason, because you put your trust out there.
And I think that's one of the problems where we have when it comes to trusting and loaning each other.
Yeah.
And then again, one of the things I really want us to do better about, if you borrow some money, pay back more than you borrow.
Yeah.
Because you would take a loan out.
Yeah.
and we gonna just name, there's some places that you can pawn your title to your car.
Right.
Them places make a lot of money off the money that you borrow, okay?
Right.
So when you go to them places and you paying back all that money, I'm just saying when you go to your family member, and let's just
Treat
say,
them like.
yeah,
like-
if
like-
it's just
yeah.
$100 or $200, okay, and it got you by, and it kept you from bouncing or whatever it did to keep you afloat. If you did 220, 250, okay, I promise you, what you might notice, the person you give that 250 to will probably give you the 50 back.
They will give you back to. I would.
You know,
every time.
because a lot of times that's what they're trying to show you. I did that out of strength, but you're showing better than what you gave.
Right.
Where I feel
Right.
good about lending and doing more than being coming up short. So what I really have to say is we made some crazy judgment by giving money out. And again, we gave it and it didn't come back. I don't want to use that negativity on the next person because that person did me wrong, I mean the next one. But I can say, when people do repay, they try to repay just the amount. And I'm talking about months later.
Right.
Just that amount. Just like that person I mentioned, if they paid me today, and it's been a year and a half, it'll be that exact amount.
Right.
A year and a half ago, which you already know loan-wise, it'll be almost double.
Yeah. But if they paying you back a year and a half
Right.
later,
I just
they've
have to
probably
get
been
it.
thinking about you the whole year and a half. And they
I try to
probably
make, when they see me, I want them to think about it.
they've been probably avoiding the situation and having hard feelings, and that's why you can't just turn a cold eye. You really got to have empathy for those
Exactly.
people. But the point of this equation is, especially when it comes to money, in all things, but especially when it comes to money, you have to keep your word. And if you can't pay it back, don't borrow it. Or if you borrow it, let the folks know your situation so that they can not depend on that. Don't ruin a relationship behind $100 or $50 or $20 or $1,000, whatever that may be. Stay close to your word and do what you said you were going to do. That's the key to the equation here.
And I will also tell you, if it's a situation when you're going through and you got to borrow, the first thing I say is make sure you suffer through. Because it's your decision
Right.
that got you there.
Right.
All right?
Suffer
And a
through.
lot of times, if you suffer through, like, I got to fix some sandwiches, I'm not going to have it. I'm going to drive a little less. I have to consolidate, okay? If I punish myself by consolidating and understanding, I won't make these decisions again, okay?
Right.
And I'm not saying that person put me in that state. I've overspent before. I had vision, and I wanted this, and I went out and I did it, and then I looked and I didn't budget that right. And I fell short. It's easy to pick up the phone to a lot of friends that got money, okay? I have close friends. Even you are a close friend to me.
Right.
And I know I can turn to you. And it's hardly ever I'm going to come to you.
Absolutely.
And then when I can't, one of the things I always do is make sure you call that person and let them know, hey, fell a little short. But if you need at least half of it or whatever you might need, I got you right now. To show faith that that person can say, you know something, he's better than others. Because the bottom line, he's trying.
Right.
They will still want to rock with you. There's nothing worse when, you got it. You ain't hurting.
Right.
Man, I seen your paycheck, man. Much money as you make, I know you ain't needing this.
Right.
But when you was begging me, you needed it. But now all of a sudden, because of my car, my house, all of a sudden, I'm doing so good. I struggle like anybody else. I pay out like anybody else.
Right.
But my whole thing is when I loan, I gave it when you needed it.
Right.
When you said you was going to give it back, I can't tell you I needed it, but I might have needed it for somebody else because I got a lending I want a lending, but I'll say I got a heart full of love. That's the best way I can tell you.
Yeah.
And I want it to overflow. I'm tired of somebody draining me for something that God gave me. It's not to be drained for you. That's selfishness. Let me spread. That's why I started this show, to spread love, to get in and give out to the community. I want to, in my bucket list, I want to start a charity underneath my business. Why? Because I got to make sure I give back. It's a legacy. Not just to make money, but to do something for others besides just making money. Money is money.
Yeah.
Love is endless.
Right.
I couldn't pay for it. I could not pay for the amount of love that's up in me. I was prayed for. I've been shown love for my mother. That's endless. I gotta show it to others.
Yeah.
I gotta pass it. It's meant to.
Let's turn the subject a little bit, and this is kind of more of what I wanted to cover because everybody really needs to. I would like everybody to identify with this show and this next set of dialogue, and really figure out how you're going to go to the next level. Okay, my parents were just hard-working people.
Okay.
They graduated high school. They started working. And they were very good managers of money. Mm-hmm. And fortunately, my father found his way into the chemical industry, and he spent 40 years in the chemical industry. Paid him very well. My mother, she worked for Winn-Dixie. She spent 28 years with Winn-Dixie, right? Working hourly rate. Both of them were working hourly rate. And my parents, and I've seen millions and millions of families, have what we call regular jobs, mm-hmm. and do very well, right? They're able to buy homes, they're able to buy cars and transportation, they're able to put their children through college, they're able to take vacations, and so what I'm suggesting is that you don't have to make millions of dollars to have a good money life. You have to learn how to be responsible with the money that you have. And I'm talking about families that make $30,000 or $40,000 are accomplishing these kind of lives. Kids through college and buying houses and cars. It's not necessarily the amount of money that you make, it's how you treat the money that you make that determines whether you have a good money life. Now, I, on the other hand, and many others like me, decided that after high school, I wanted to go get education. In fact, my parents were adamant about it. You're going to get a college degree. Mm-hmm. And so I went to college. I spent, $60,000, and I got a degree after 6 years and a lot of playing around. And I finally got my degree. I came out of college making $45,000. Mm-hmm. And there's something to be said for that track. It doesn't matter which track you take, but you got to take a track that's going to provide financial security for you and your family's future. And there are a lot of people who just work in odd jobs, right? That's what upsets me most. They're just working a job, just trying to make ends meet. They're not really planning for how to prepare themselves and their lives and their families for a long-term financial future. It takes hard work no matter which direction you go. Mm-hmm. But listen to these statistics. And these are people, the people who go and get higher educations, for example, the people who get doctorates, mm-hmm. The average income of a doctorate is only $81,000. I say only $81,000 because in my mind, that's not a lot of money, okay. Right? But $81,000. And of course, for advanced degrees are making around 60 to $70,000. The average family in America without a college degree, mm-hmm. are making $30,000 to $35,000 a year. So education can promote the advancement of your financial security, and education doesn't necessarily have to be college. Education might be a technical school. Education might just be reading and studying and working hard to be the best beautician or the best welder or the best fashion designer or whatever you happen to be. My words are simply to inspire you to get focused on developing yourself so that it will equate to an increase in your money factor. You are never going to get prosperous by just working a job, going to work, and going home. It's not going to happen. 9 to 5s don't produce retirement. In fact, I had a statistic here that I read earlier, mm-hmm. and it suggested that 90% of the workforce in America today will not be able to retire at age 65. Wow. 90%. And so there's a couple of things we can look at in there. Either they're not using their money properly. Mm-hmm. Perhaps they're not planning for a great future. If you want to send your kids to college, you need to invest in a college program and take the 15 years they're in school and invest in them. Spend $25, $30, $50 a week or a month, and these banks have got programs that will send your kids to college based on those investments. You can do it, but you got to think through it, and you got to create a plan, and you got to be proactive. right? I think there's just too many people lounging on their laurels. They're looking for the big hit, the lottery hit. They're looking for, I'm just gonna make it big in the music industry. I'm gonna make it big as an athlete, and find 20 years down the road that they didn't create a solid plan to protect themselves and their families. What happens if you got to go to work from 65 to 75? You really miss a lot of quality years because you haven't prepared. And I think it's all too often, it happens all too often. When I was in the world of training and development, I was working with Chase Bank, some of their top executives. And this guy told me that he's been in banking over 20 years, made $100,000 every year, 100 plus, 150,000. And he was inside of a year of retirement and was afraid that he could not keep up the lifestyle after he retired. And he said the first thing that's going to happen is my wife's going to leave me. Now, that's a whole nother equation, right?
That's a whole nother show.
But we're talking about somebody make $100,000 a year for 20 years and still afraid of retirement, right? You got to stop spending, folks. That's the important part. Stop spending and start investing, and there's a way in order to manage your money so that you live below your means. You live beneath the money that you have. If you make $50,000, live a $40,000 lifestyle. If you make $100,000, live a $70,000 lifestyle. If you make $30,000, live a $25,000 lifestyle. You got to start finding a way to put some money under the mattress. You got to start finding a way to invest in some CDs and investments. And listen, everybody has the ability to be an entrepreneur, but you just don't jump out there with your life savings and blow all your money, because it's too easy to make mistakes in entrepreneurship. You've got to have mentors, you got to be studied, you got to know your product, you got to know the industry. But this conversation is talking about developing yourself again, right? You got to find a support group. You may find a banker who will help you build a program. I don't know who this message is for, but I can tell you that spending all of your money and blowing money on credit cards and shopping for outfits that just sit in the closet, and blowing $100, $200 at the club every other weekend does not provide for long-term financial security. And in my personal opinion, it doesn't even promote happiness, because the things that just make you happy for a moment, they come and gone. Right? But if I can save that $100 or that $1,000 or that $10,000 or $100,000 for the rainy day, for the day that I break my leg playing softball in intramural or something, and I got to take a couple of months off, I got a cushion. And I'm not going to miss the mark. I'm not going to fall into financial ruin. The average family in America is one paycheck from financial ruin. If they miss the next paycheck, they're not going to be able to pay rent. They're not going to be able to buy groceries. They're not going to be able to pay for their children's college tuition. We got to find a way to get ahead financially, because getting ahead financially saves lives. What other way to say it? It saves lives, and it protects survival for many years to come. There are ways to put money in and get more money out. Those are the ways that we have to be looking for. So I don't want to belabor the point. There's a lot more I want to say on the subject, but...
And I'm going to tell you, you did a great job on that one. And I know we got to go to break, but one of the things I want to say is, off of what you were saying already.
Yeah.
Don't chase money. Chase your inner dream. A lot of times you're born with it, okay?
Right.
You have an ability. If you take that, because that's something you was already heavenly given, heaven above, and take it, you can calculate, you can, capitalize on the world, and the world will pay you. A lot of times we look at money and we chase it. It's moving, okay? You're chasing something that you probably won't be able to just catch all the way up to. But what you have, people will pay for. You don't got to go nowhere. But you got to home in on it. You got to know your product, okay? So I don't know what that is, because we talking to the world. But if you can look at it and you can find it, you can mass produce it, and you will be that icon that everybody is like, wow, I want to be like you, but you don't need to be like them. You got to find you. Because one of the things I noticed, everybody that did great things, I'm not quick to say I want to be them at all. I don't even know what all they went through. I just say, you know something? They put in work. I gotta work harder.
Yeah, and I want to talk about that work when we come back.
I gotta put it in. But we're gonna go ahead and break. But I promise you, if you don't know me, I promise you, I put in a lot of work. I had a lot less sleep, but my whole thing is to see something that I dreamed that I didn't see.
Right.
Now the world can see.
Right.
That's the difference.
That's the difference. Yeah, I want to spend some time on entrepreneurship when we get back, because everybody has the ability to sell a product. And the notion is make it once and sell it 1,000,000 times. You might bake cakes, you might do heads, you might sell t-shirts. Make it once and sell it 1,000,000 times. It's all about process driven. So bear with us, folks. We'll be right back after this song.
Bar Talk with Jay. Going hard to paint about this lesson of money.
Yeah, Jay, but I got a question for you, man.
Go for it.
How much is enough?
I'm not gonna lie to you. I asked the man above, and he said abundance. And when he said that, I stopped asking. So with abundance, it means so much to me to give as well. So if abundance is coming, then I have to manage to make sure I'm able to give out just as much as I give in.
Right.
So it's a balancing act.
Yeah.
And one of the things about money and people is they don't balance. And it's like what you said, you go out and you let credit card debt, you grab a ship and you're unbalanced, it's gonna tip over.
Right.
So watch what you do. And it's easy to get caught up. TV don't help, okay? Role models don't always help. Because you see where they at, and you want to be where they at, but you don't understand their struggles and their walk. But if you grab a person that's close to you, and you understand them, they can help you as well. So a lot of times we grab way high. And I always believe in aiming higher than the regular mark. I always believe in aiming all the way to the top of the sky.
Right.
But understand, even though no matter how much you aim up, reach over.
Right.
Okay? Reach one, teach one is a huge thing. Because when you grab that person next to you, you don't know how much more information you might be able to aim even higher. Because again, your harpoon that you trying to shoot up might not even be loaded. That person you just grabbed helped you understand what you're shooting for, and what you just put in there might not make it.
Right.
Change to the game with knowledge. Exposure is everything. So a lot of time when you tell people to aim high and do these things, they ain't exposed all the way. Help keep exposing. Show the love and keep passing, because a lot of time people make it and they like, I made it.
Right.
I think we have an obligation to others. I ain't saying give all your money away. That could be foolishly squandered. I'm saying reach back, because it's also lessons.
Yeah.
And some people need to be kind of pulled along, but I don't really like to be pulled myself. I like to be pushed. I like to steer my way. But everybody else don't feel that way.
Yeah.
So some you have to pull.
So give me a number. What's your drop dead minimum amount?
My drop dead.
Minimum amount.
I mean, drop dead as in I ain't gonna do nothing else?
No, the whole sentence, not just a piece of it.
Oh, drop dead.
Minimum amount.
I don't want to drop dead.
Oh,
No,
time out.
I don't
Drop dead and minimum in the same
Your
sentence.
drop dead minimum amount. The minimum amount of money. We're talking about money. Give me
Okay,
the
the
least
minimum
amount of
amount
money
of
that you can live on.
right now, the
Right.
least amount.
Right.
The minimum amount I can live on right now, showing all, business and all, 65,000.
65,000.
65,000.
That's a little over 5,000 a month.
Yes,
Okay.
65,000.
What's your number?
45.
45,000. Okay. I think the average family can live off of that. That is greater than the average family, right? If you make $45,000 a year, that's $10,000 more
You gotta
than the
remember
average
that I
family.
got other things along. You just got family, bro. They grown.
Right,
I'm
right.
business.
Right.
I need a little extra.
Exactly. And for me, it's probably $50,000-$60,000. I could live off of $50,000-$60,000. I make more than that, way more than that, but I am I live below my means.
Coming at this brother a whole nother way now. Keep telling what you make.
I mean,
ain't worried about it.
Yeah, I ain't worried about it at all, because it comes from the divine. See, I don't create it, I just manifest it. You see what I mean? But the point is that you need to know what it's going to take to survive. You need to know what that number is. And there are a lot of folks who are walking day in and day out. They don't know what that drop dead number is. And really it just takes adding up all your expenses, adding up what it takes, to eat, what it takes to get to work, your gas, all that good stuff. And that number is gonna be kind of, here's my survival number. I gotta have this number. We all want millions, right? We all want an unlimited amount of money, but few of us ever do, right? Millionaires account for less than 5% of all the people in the world, okay? So it is not likely, it's against our odds that we're going to be millionaires. I got a plan to get there. I think, Jay, you got a plan to get there.
I got a plan to get there. But I promise you, before I even get there, I'm going to be happy on the way.
Absolutely.
I'm not going to settle
and
not be happy until I get there like a lot of people do. I'm going to work the plan and then I'm going to not do this and I'm going to enjoy this ride.
Right.
Because I really feel like that is what's being given to me. The power to reach over and gravitate and enjoy.
Right.
A lot of times we give up a little bit of joy. I gave up some vacations to make things happen. I'm going back to having vacations because I didn't give up for long term.
Right.
It's short term because you got to show the commitment. So if you out partying,
I like that,
and you doing your thing,
right,
and then you gonna come sell me something, and I'm seeing you on Instagram, doing all your party and everything, I'm not gonna take you all that seriously because I don't know how serious you're gonna be and what kind of partnership we're gonna have.
Right.
If I see you out there just doing a good time, not a little different than bar talking, because if you come to me, I'm gonna have some fun. I'm telling you now, anything you come to, we're gonna have some fun. But business comes as in when I do my show, I'm doing my show.
right.
I might be a minute late, but I promise you, I'm doing the show, I'm committed.
You committed.
And that's what I gotta show people, my commitment.
Right.
But some people just want to show the party. I want to, forget anything else. I want to have a good time. It's fine to enjoy life, have a good time.
Right.
But also show your work.
Exactly.
People gravitate to you for your work ethics.
Right.
You make a resume way before you. It goes before you. You got to make it.
Right.
But most people just want to talk to you.
That's exactly.
Good luck to you. I can talk. But it's a whole lot go before me before all this talking.
Yeah, and I want to talk about entrepreneurship quite a bit. I left off the conversation really about preparing for the future. Listen to this statistic. Let's say you are 25 now and you earn $50,000 a year and want to retire at 40. You want to retire at 15 years, which typically is not going to happen. You will roughly create about $1,300 a month of retirement income. So it takes 15 years. It takes 15 years of making $50,000 a year to create a retirement of $1,300 a month. How many folks can live on $1,300 a month? Very few, right? Rent's gonna be $700-800. Right? Hopefully, hopefully in 15 years, probably not. Yeah, not in 15 years. The house is not going to be paid off in 15 years. The house, you got a 30-year mortgage unless you're paying some extra, you know what I mean?
Pay extra.
Yeah, and if you pay extra, then you probably will get it done. But the point is that at $50,000 a year, your retirement is still short.
Yes.
Right? So I know that I'm still another 15, 20 years from retirement. I got to start preparing. And there's no better way to prepare for a future than entrepreneurship. Being able to sell your own products, your own service, have your own business, you be the boss. And it takes some development in that, right? It takes a lot of sacrifice, right? And that's the point I really want to make in this whole discussion, is that in order for money to work for you, you've got to take a step back and make some serious sacrifices. And everybody who's put kids through college, or you're raising kids, you know the sacrifices that you make, right? You don't buy the outfits, you don't go out, you skip the vacations this year, you may not eat the greatest dinners, you don't eat out a lot. There's a lot of those sacrifices that we have to make, sometimes just for survival. But we should be making more of those sacrifices in order to prepare to take care of ourselves in our elder years. Starting a business is the way to go. And I think everybody has a gift, everybody has a talent, but your gift and your talent isn't going to create prosperity for you. It's going to take putting together a process that creates money, right? You can be the best cake baker in the world, but if you don't know how to sell cakes, then you're going to have an inventory full of cakes, and you're going to have money in storage, and it's never going to hit the street. And so I'm a big advocate of learning how to market your expertise, learning how to market your business. Listen, there are people out there making millions of dollars off of Mexican jumping beans and hairpins and tennis shoelaces. You got to find a product and get in the game. But if you stand on the sideline, you're going to spend 15, 20 years doubting yourself, never putting the process in place, and then you're going to give up a whole lot of life toward the end of your life. Entrepreneurship is the way to go. And now 75% of all business is small business. Your business counts. You can go and rent a storefront, you can work out of your garage, you can have an internet business, but you gotta find a way to create prosperity in your house. Get your husband and your wife to do it, your significant other, find a team of friends, but it's important to focus on building your own business, because you're not going to be able to work for other people for the rest of your life. And I don't want to necessarily belabor the point on that, but you got to find some ways to create additional income other than just your 9-to-5 job. Your 9-to-5 is going to take care of home for now, but your entrepreneurial skills and your ability to develop yourself and build a strong business is going to protect you down the road.
I agree. And also leave a legacy.
Absolutely.
Again, just depending on corporate America, anything can happen.
Right.
Entrepreneurship is a scare. I promise you, you just can't go into it lightly. You got to go into it seriously.
Right.
But some of the scares is what you have to wake up to anyway. You got to get past some of the fears and
That's
just
big.
deal with it.
That's
because
big.
again, the fear of me not being a provider for my family was one of the biggest fears I had when I even took a job. Can I be successful? Can I be the man that my daddy made me to be?
Right.
Well, I found out the man above had a mission for me. So it was past what my daddy wanted. It was part for me to be that man that I was raised to be. And that right there is scary. I'm telling you, leaving the nest and understanding, getting into it, ain't no joke. But once I got into it, I took ownership of it, worked, did my thing. Entrepreneurship came when I got to a point where I felt like my family was growing and I wanted more. And I noticed I had to do so much for corporate America that I was just being stressed out and I wasn't coming home. I mean, when I say coming home, working at the job 12, 13 hours.
Oh, absolutely.
So I'm not home. I'm not running the street. I'm actually working.
90-hour work weeks.
Right, when you get home, I'm falling asleep. I'm not raising my kids. I'm just a man doing and bringing home money.
Right.
Okay? And then I watch my kids grow up, and they're like, well, you really wasn't even here, Daddy. And they're telling the truth. It hurt you, but I sacrificed for you.
Right.
They can't understand my struggle.
They won't be able to understand that.
And they shouldn't.
Right.
But I owe them now. Because I took away from them because I wanted them to have this and all what I gave, that ain't what they wanted.
Yeah.
They wanted me there, and I didn't understand that then.
Right.
Because I was caught up in me, myself, as in my goals, and I lost vision of my own family, and it can happen.
Yeah.
And I don't want it to happen to nobody, but I want to bring it up because if you can catch it, go and spend that time because you can't make up for what was done. And the things that you bought and all the rest of it, all cute, but did I spend wisely? I worked so hard for it. I felt like I'm going to enjoy it, and I did some things. And I will say, it didn't bring no money back. I didn't invest. I did things that was good trips, good memories. Didn't bring back no more money.
Right.
Okay? And that's sometimes the mentality of work hard, play hard. Well, you can also work hard and invest. And then you can play later.
Yeah.
Some things wasn't taught correctly, and I can't say everybody. This is just me talking about some of the mistakes I made. Hope you guys don't ever make. And I want everybody to be prosperous. But I won't tell y'all that my life is any different than anybody else because I watch them. I watch people around me do it, and that's why I did it. But then I started watching other people, I got exposed to people that had great money,
Right.
great wealth. They wasn't doing the same thing I was doing. So I had to learn from just what they were showing me. I'm like, they ain't putting the rims, the big music in the car. They wasn't doing none of that. Bought a car with a nice sound system in it already. We weren't worried about all that. The price you pay for the rims, you ain't gonna get that back. Didn't think about all that then. You have to start looking where you're focusing your money, and then you will start making better decisions. But exposure helps that.
Listen, and I like the fact that you brought up time, because yeah, there are a lot of folk who are really grinding and they're making good money, but they're leaving their loved ones behind, right? And we've seen it. You know, the history of mankind will tell us that, you know, men was working really hard, and then, you know, evolution kind of changed for our economy, and now it takes a husband and a wife working really hard, and the kids are not being raised, you know, like they used to be raised, right? And so there is something to be said for putting more time into the home and building family and teaching your kids right from wrong and good from bad and showing, expressing love and all that good stuff, and maybe giving up some of the money, right? That money isn't everything, right? And I think that's a great point to make in a show like this. Yeah, we're not advocating that that money's going to solve all your problems, but the most important equation, you got to be able to maintain survival. Once you maintain survival, I think it becomes a question that each individual has to ask. Am I okay working 90-hour weeks, not spending time with my kids, not being able to see the baseball games or go to the soccer league, or, you know, being able to participate in my children's school? Those things are extremely important. Those things do more for your children than the money. And so, you know, we can't leave money behind, because it's kind of the seed of survival, at least in this world. But I think it's important to make the decision, make a conscious decision. I see a lot of families, and we saw it kind of in the Cosbys, that, you know, we saw it in the Cosbys a little bit, but you got a husband who's got a great career. He may spend 80, 90 hours a week at work. He's going to demand, or he's going to structure in the family that the wife stays home and maybe do, you know, homeschooling. But that mother in the home, and she could go out and make $100,000 herself. But they decide that her being in the home and her being a part of those kids' lives is way more important than the money that they could make. And that has to be a conscious decision, you know. And I've seen it over and over. I see a lot more men that are stay-at-home husbands, and because the wife has gotten the higher degree and can make more money, and the husband will sacrifice his career. He's already on point. He can go and do big things, but he says, you know what? My kids are more important. Being there for them when they get out of school, making sure I help them with their homework, being a part of the extracurricular activities. You know, life is going to pass you by if you're always at work. It's one thing when you got to do what you got to do, but I think a great point to make is that, you know, money is not everything. You know, time and love and caring for your family and building the value system in your home may produce legacies of prosperity for your children. But if they go out into the world not loved and not knowing what family looks like, they may go out and make a whole lot of money and start making the traditional mistakes that families make, thinking that money solves all problems, and it doesn't.
It doesn't. And again,
it doesn't.
Having a good work ethic is nothing wrong with it.
Nothing wrong with that.
I do not want to make it seem like you just don't work at all. No.
Right.
I was just a hyper person that loved to work. All right. But you got to focus yourself.
Yeah.
And sometimes I overcommitted because, again, and I would say I wanted to be out there, and I liked making the money I was making.
Yes.
So I didn't have the thought and the vision of seeing that I wasn't really there for my kids.
Right.
You know, because I did have a wife that was there to say, okay, I love you, and you work hard, go ahead and go to sleep, I got the kids.
Right.
So she supported me, don't get me wrong. She was there. Mm-hmm. And that's why, again, we worked so well together, but then we ended up falling apart because even she required some time, and I wasn't giving it to her.
Man, that's a big one. A lot of spouses
that's where
left out.
It went south of the border because she gave it to the kids, she was there for the kids, and after a while I wasn't there for her. I don't want people to ruin marriages behind chasing money.
Yes.
And I chased it, and I accomplished it. And I would like to say, as a man, I can tell you my accomplishment was over $150,000, and it's nothing to me. I made $269,000
Right.
with her at one time, and
Right.
it was easier than that 150. So again, you gotta kind of figure out chasing money and stressing. And what you don't understand is the stress is hidden.
Right.
It catches you and just kills you.
Yes.
I don't want you to die chasing something that I really feel like will never make you happy.
Right.
What can make you happy is what's next to you and you don't even pay attention to it.
Yeah.
And she's supporting you.
Yeah.
She's telling you.
Ain't no last calls here.
Bar Talk with Jay.